Bama football on YouTube. Today is Monday. It is November 17th. The sun did come out, and I appreciate y'all kicking it with me inside the comment box right here on Bama football on YouTube following this weekend's loss to Oklahoma. All right, I hope you had time to flush it. And if you're coming over here and you're looking for a negative show, if you're looking for me to play down in the dumps, yo, it's not gonna happen. That's just not me. That's not my style. And there is still plenty of football left to be played, all right? All the goals that Alabama wants to achieve at the beginning of the season, all that's still obtainable, okay? And it still remains a one-game season. So on today's show, I'm going to open up, giving you a little context that there is still a lot to play for. I'm going to go over the college football playoff rankings. I'm going to ask you some questions regarding Coach Kalen Deboer, all right? It'll be a good show, I promise you, as Alabama enters this Monday, taking on Eastern Illinois on the back end on Saturday, okay? By the way, Saturday, it'd be yours truly, it'd be my birthday, okay? So this is the birthday week. I'm feeling good. I'm excited. I'm blessed. There's a lot to be grateful for despite this weekend, okay? So took it on the chin. Someone asked me this morning, I was at workouts, and they were like, Kyle, what's the deal? What do you have to say about Alabama losing this weekend? I was like, you know what? The last time that Alabama took a L, they turned it into 8 consecutive positives. You see what I'm saying? They went on an 8-game winning streak. Hey, you're going to take it on the chin. This is not 2012. This is not 2013. One loss back then, yeah, it was really detrimental. 2 losses, you're absolutely done. Now that we are in NFL light, now that the college football rules and the playoffs have changed, I'm not saying lower your standards in 2-3 games, but I'm telling you, you're gonna get punched in the mouth. The teams are very good right now. This isn't Central Florida. This isn't Minnesota. This isn't UCLA. This isn't Wisconsin. Okay, this is Oklahoma. Okay, before that it was LSU. Right. Like the teams that they are playing are in a completely different level than the rest of the world of college football, right? And by the way, Alabama is still the only team in the country with 4 wins over top 25, including a win over Georgia, right? Okay, so let me go over a couple things, and I'll give some shout-outs in the morning, all right? So look, you have to win the next 2. All right, and if you win the next 2, Alabama is in the playoffs, okay? And I get it. If Alabama was to make the SEC championship game and let's say they lose that game or something like that, will they be out? Well, who's to say they're going to lose that game anyways, right? Because I have a huge fraud alert coming up with Texas A&M. And I've done my research, and I will bring it to the table, okay? And I will showcase you Texas A&M, all right? Just wait. Fraud alert, all right? All right, playing a complete game this weekend is so important, all right? So important. I don't want to go into this game against Eastern Illinois and get caught up like 10-0 or something like that at halftime. You got to play a complete 4 quarters. You have to flush that, and you have to come out with that same type of intensity. I want to see Coach Kalen Deboer coming out, hitting the pad, and coming out on probably senior day, right, for these guys, unless they get some home field game at the playoffs. So I want to see that same type of intensity. I don't care who it's against, because a lot of the time, you're just playing yourself. Let me ask you this inside the comment box as I get going. Did Oklahoma beat Alabama, or did Alabama beat itself? I'm serious. That's an honest question. Who beat who last week or this past Saturday? Did Oklahoma beat Alabama, or did Alabama beat itself? I would say there was enough self-inflicted wounds that you could say that Alabama beat itself, right? Were they dominated? No. They had turnovers. They had special teams penalty. They had special teams errors. It was on them, all right? They are ranked 10th in the latest polls. That shows you, and that showcases me that resume and those 4 quality wins against top 25 competition. People understand. They're like, look, they have played a gauntlet, right? They have played a gauntlet of the season, still inside the top 10. Not bad. Not bad. I'm not going to freak out and be like, oh, they're 10. The world's over. No, they're 10. They are number 10, okay? The good, okay? The turnovers, let me ask you this inside the comment box. Have turnovers been an issue all season long? Have they? I get it. A hot topic right now is Ty Simpson's fumbles. Yeah, he has fumbled the ball 5 times in the last 5 games. And in fact, I think someone brought up a stat. They're like, well, Jalen Milroe only fumbled the ball 4 times in 13 games. Okay, I get it. Yeah, 5 fumbles. But overall, have turnovers been a huge reason, like a huge factor this season? Have they gotten in the way of Alabama? Really, honestly? No, they haven't. Okay? The 5 fumbles, yeah, that stands out for sure. And the interception, okay, sure. Yeah, that stands out. But overall, Alabama was in the top 5 in terms of turnover margin in the country, okay? It hasn't really been an issue. Now, what has been an issue and what is bad is the kicking game has been an issue. That has been something that has been an issue the entire season. In fact, in the spring, we knew that the kicking game was going to be a problem, right? So, good. The turnover hasn't been an issue, in my opinion, all season long, something that happened last game. But the kicking game has been something that has always been kind of there, and I think it's going to be there the rest of the way. I don't think there's some kicker's just going to come in and everything's going to change. I think it is what it is. Now, the running game, right? Has the running game, has it taken a step forward? Maybe. But look, I think it's still an issue. And in fact, I have the data to back it up. Alabama, they were going into the game against Oklahoma ranked number 119 in the country. 119 in the run game. Guess what they are right now? 121. They went back 2 spots. There's only so many spots you can go back before you're the worst in the run in the entire country. So I get it. You want Daniel Hill, and Daniel Hill's going to solve everything, and he's the guy. And A.K. Deere, it's not the truth, okay? I think Daniel Hill did a okay job. The 28-yard run, it was nice, but wake up. Be honest with yourself. Like, is he the fastest guy? On NCAA football, if he was out there, and look, this is just facts. I have to tell you the truth. The running game, I think, is like, he's not the fastest back. If he was fast, he needs to run hills all summer long, like Derrick Henry. If he comes back and he's, faster, that guy will be he'd be like Derrick Henry. Okay? But right now, he needs to get faster. And pass protection. All the running backs, they had trouble. All right. Today, what you do today is you just get back to work. You get back to work. You ever had a bad weekend? You ever had something go really wrong? What do? Do you dwell on it the rest of your life? Do you let it ruin everything? Is your life over? No, you get back to work. It's Monday. You get back to work. I get it. There's all the noise and everybody's talking. You get back to work. Get back to work. Go have practice. Hey. We go forward. We have a game this weekend. Still a lot to play for. All of our goals, we can still achieve them all. Back to work, all right? And you drop the absolute hammer on these dudes, okay? The college football playoffs, is Bama still in? Yes, Bama is still in the playoffs. And you will see Tuesday night, when the official rankings come out, you will see that Bama is still in the playoff rankings, all right? So, that said, I'm in a good mood. I feel good. I feel blessed, all right? I'm not going to stress out about, all these, like, what could be's. It's just like they lost. And you still got a shot, okay? There's still a lot to play for. Imagine the Texas Longhorn show this morning. By the way, the Texas Longhorn show, okay? Their YouTube channel, I swear to God, they have like 2,700 people on, okay? They have 3,700 on. They have 5,000 on. The numbers are ridiculous because they were fed a fake reality, and they bought into the fake reality that this was once again their season. It wasn't. It was never going to be, okay? I think at a time we're like, yeah, maybe Texas is going to be pretty good, but you know what? Texas just got wiped off the map by Georgia, and guess who beat Georgia? Alabama, okay? That Texas team, it was all fake. They're done. They're going to be playing. Imagine the Texas fans right now. Thank goodness, just thank God that you're not a Texas fan. Imagine being a Texas fan this morning and searching for answers and already thinking about next year and already thinking about the bowl you're going to play. And oh, my God. Imagine that. Where are we going to go? Who are we going to play? We're going to play like, who are they going to play? Some scrub team in some scrub bowl? Yuck. You could be a Texas fan. Yikes. Max Tooney, what's up, man? Good to see you. I appreciate you being here. Broderick, what's up, bro? Thanks for kicking it with us. As always, Ethan Wilson, what's up, my man? Good to see you this morning as well. We got North Alabama Storm Chase. Good morning to you. Thank you so much, Miss Anita Waters. Thank you for kicking it with us right here on Bama Football on YouTube. We have Mindy Miss Careless. We have It's Me Marvin. We have Jarvis. What's up, bro? We have Bam Bam 72. What's up, bro? We have Crimson Dreams. Good to see you, man. Keep those dreams alive 100%. Love that you're here. Miss Nicole Covington. Good to see you. Mr. Rogers. What's up, Mr. Rogers? We got Steven Caps. What's up, man? Good to see you up inside the comment box. We got Andy 710 coming to us from Denver, Colorado. Tide is rising. He says, we in trouble. Andrew, what's up, man? I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. You got a question regarding Ryan Williams returning punts. Dallin Ford, what's up, bro? Thank you so much for being here. And Rex Green, my boy, good to see you. KTK, what's up, man? Good to see you, KTK. And Lewis Ferguson, what's up, man? He's like, it's a very, very bad loss. Yeah, it sucked, man. But we march forward. We still have room to – we still have life. We still have life. There's a lot of programs out there that don't have life, right? But Alabama isn't one of them because we're going to roll on through, and you got a big game this weekend against Eastern Illinois. Okay, so look, if you caught my Wake Up Bama podcast, I usually post it at like 4 a.m., all right? I came up with this college football creed, and I really want you to write this down. If you want to get a tat of this on your back, go for it, all right? But this is, I made this up. I wrote this down, and let's say it together, okay? We're going to practice this. Maybe all this week, this will be our job, okay, to walk you off the ledge. All right, let's read it all together, okay? I'll go first. This is the College Football Creed by Kyle Henderson. I understand that my team will get punched in the mouth. I understand that my team will deliver blows. I accept that all teams in the SEC might be equally built. Turnovers will kill you. So will missed field goals. I am committed to living in a one-game season. This is not 2013 when Saban used to give everybody BTA on a weekly basis. This is 2025. Things are crazy AF. We ride, win or lose, and we roll tide, okay? That is our creed. That is our mantra, okay? Because this season and last season and the next season, it's all going to be a one-game season. When you are in the SEC, okay, you're going to get punched. Somebody's going to come up to you and punch you right in the teeth. And it's your opportunity and the team's opportunity to just move forward, all right? And a lot of people are confused on the conference rankings right now. They're like, well, Alabama's out of the SEC championship. That's it. Georgia's in, and so is Ole Miss. All right, they're in. I'm like, I get it. That loss felt like 100 losses, but guess what? Alabama has lost one game in the SEC. One game, all right? And so is Ole Miss, and so is Georgia. They were, well, you got to take Ole Miss over Alabama. Really? Well, yeah. Why? Well, because they have same record as Alabama, and it's Lane Kiffin. Really? Well, who'd they lose to? Well, they only lost to Georgia. Oh, really? Well, who did Georgia lose to? Oh, Georgia lost to Alabama. Yeah, that's the common opponent. That's why Alabama is still in the SEC title if they take care of business these next 2 weeks, okay? Coach Kalen Deboer, after the game, he was like, look, I'm really disappointed in the outcome. We got killed in the turnover battle, 100%, right? We missed our opportunities for sure. The guys are disappointed and frustrated. They'll flush it, and we'll move forward into Monday, okay? Now, listen, about Coach Kalen Deboer, this is a lot different than the last time they lost against Florida State. And I'm here to tell you to not go into negative town and put the pitchforks away, because there's a difference between that loss and this loss. The loss against Florida State, I felt that the team really wasn't prepared as they needed to be. When you went into Tallahassee, I felt that they got out-coached, I thought they got outplayed, and I thought they weren't prepared. Following that game, Coach Kalen Deboer and the rest of the crew got together, and they decided to take that negative and make positives out of it. And they went game by game, okay? That loss is completely different from this loss. The only team that lost on Saturday was Alabama beat themselves. They were not outcoached, right? They were not outplayed. They made mistakes that ended up costing them the game. They haven't done that the entire season. They really haven't. Outside of that first game, when have they played like that, right? They had a bad game. They made mistakes, and they made costly mistakes, right? And things are not perfect in all three phases of the game right now, and I still feel that the offense needs to kind of turn it up a little bit. But when we look at Kalen Deboer, is it time to panic? No, it is not, okay? He is 17-6 at Alabama, all right? He has a 74% winning percentage. You compare that to Brian Kelly, he was 71, and that shows you right now where college football is. They're like, yo, if you're in that 70% range, you can still get fired, which is crazy. Crazy. You won 74% of your games, 71, and Brian Kelly, poof, toast, all right? But there's a big difference between Deboer and Brian Kelly. One of them is recruiting. I'll get to that in a second. One game away from matching the win total from 2024, right? You win a game against Eastern Illinois, you've already matched what you did last season, okay? That's a positive, right? You're 0-2 against Oklahoma. All right, Brett Venables, yo, that guy can swing them. And he's not a defensive coordinator. Brett Venables is a damn good football coach. That was a main reason that Clemson was running all those years. It was Brett Venables. It's not the first time he's beat Alabama, right? But he is 2-0 against Kirby Smart. And I think right now, if you're like, who's the best, the biggest dog out there in terms of the head football coach, especially after this last Saturday, I'm telling you, that Georgia football team, I might put them number 2 behind Ohio State, okay? That's how good Georgia looked on Saturday. And that quarterback is balling out. I'll talk about Gunner here in a little while. But guess what? Coach Kalen Deboer has landed 2 big blows against Georgia, all right? And Alabama still continues to beat Georgia. In fact, they won the last 10 out of 11 games. That's crazy. And he's 1-1 against Tennessee. Got to make the playoffs. Got to make the playoffs. And what would you say inside the comment box as I finish out this slide? What is your approval rating on Coach Kalen Deboer this morning on a scale of 1 to 10? Give it to me inside the comment box. Be straight with me. 1 in 10. What is his approval rating? 10 being the highest, okay? He's yet to make the playoffs, and you got to make the playoffs. If you can't win and if you can't make the playoffs, it's going to get serious, okay? 2 years in a row, no playoffs. I'm telling you. It'll get very serious in the offseason for everybody. But the recruiting has been elite, and I want you to rest on the wins and the wins recruiting-wise. What he's been able to do in his coaching staff from a recruiting standpoint, and this has dropped a little bit. It was probably 9 or 10, right, about 5 weeks ago. It's dropped maybe a point. But for every, for the loss that you had, think about the recruiting. The recruiting is setting up a foundation that is just wonderful. Class of 2025, class of 2026, class of 2027. Look at the prospects that are jumping on board. Man, that class of 2026 is fantastic, right? And the class of 2027 that you're getting out, early on, you're about to get a 5-star offensive guard at some point in time, right? So, and I think his transfer portal game, I think it's been pretty strong. Look at the guys that are transfers. Josh Cuevas, game ball. Jeremy Bernard, Mr. Reliable. Parker Brailsford, right? He's done a pretty good job in the transfer portal, I think. There's probably a lot of other guys that I can mention. There's been a couple misses in the portal, but not many. The coaching staff, I think he's done a really good job bringing his staff, and there's a lot of continuity within that staff. And you look to kind of Ryan Grubb, what he's done. He's 100% the best offensive coordinator that we've had since Steve Sarkisian. You know how I feel about the gadget plays. I wasn't mad about the gadget plays that they ran against Oklahoma. Did you see they ran the stumble bum? The guy where they fell and he threw it? I think it was the Lions who came up with that. They ran a direct snap to Daniel Hill. They put Daniel Hill at Wildcat. You're going to get about 5 to 7 gadget plays a game from Grubb. Grubb is a gadget guy. That's just who he is. I thought they could have managed the fourth quarter better, in my opinion. When they were coming out, when they had 95 yards to work with, I felt you could have gone for 2 opportunities there rather than 1. I thought it was mismanaged, in my opinion. Kane Womack, he's grown up. And Kane Womack, he's got to get some calls from a couple different programs. I just have to be honest. Alabama's defense has been phenomenal. The last, 6 weeks? And think about the teams and the quarterbacks that they face on a weekly basis. Good luck trying to throw for 200 yards on them. Good luck trying to get a red zone score on Alabama's defense. Kane Womack's going to get some calls, and that's just the truth. All right? He's not going to get a major program, but he will get people calling for sure. Kane Womack, and he's deserved it. He's grown up. He's done a really good job with Alabama's defense. Let me just ask you the simple question. Has Alabama improved year over year? Yes or no? Has Alabama improved year over year? You're only getting better, you're only getting worse. I'm going to say a hard yes, that they have improved. The Auburn outcome can change everything. It can change the entire trajectory of Kalen Deboer. That is how monumental that game is in 2 Saturdays. Coach Kalen Deboer will face the most pressure that he's ever faced in his coaching career when he goes down to the Haunted Barn for the first time in his career. He's never coached it in a game like that. He's never coached in a rivalry game of that magnitude. This isn't Washington versus Oregon. This isn't Fresno State versus, who's Fresno's rival? Nevada? This isn't Alabama, Tennessee. This isn't Alabama, Georgia. This is Alabama at Auburn. And that game is crazy. Oh, when it's over there. The last 4 games, every game over there at the barn is who the hell knows. Okay? And to have that type of pressure, he's going to have to coach through it. Right? He's going to have to get these team, really prepared. And he'll probably have, a couple days during this kind of rat poison week to prepare a little bit extra for Auburn. Because if he doesn't win that game, the worst case scenario could be you miss the playoffs, which they will, and you might end up with the same record as you did last year, which would be just unfathomable thinking about everything positive that's happened so far. Okay. All right. I told you I'm in a good mood today. I am. I'm usually always in a good mood, to be honest. But I think the older I get, though, I'm a little bit more tired around like 8:30, 8:45 p.m. And I got young kids, so they're not young kids, but, younger. Caden's 16. He's about to be 17. Lacey's about to be 13. So teenagers, they're not tired. They're like waking up by then. But I am in a good mood. But this doesn't put me in a good mood, okay? I'll go full screen on this. I was thinking about this. Ty Simpson's odds for the Heisman, and I get it. This is an individual award, and I posted this on Facebook, and people were like, we don't care about individual awards. I get it. Individual awards are individual, right? But Ty Simpson still, what he's done this season, I don't think he threw the entire, his season just got flushed down the toilet against Oklahoma. He's playing, the defenses that he's going against is NFL light. He's not playing. Look at who Ohio State just played. UCLA. Look at who Indiana just played. Wisconsin, okay? Did you know this? Ty Simpson, his odds are way down on the board. It's he's not even in. He's probably won't even get an invite to New York City anymore, to be honest, okay? And I think it's just unfair. And I'm like, man, it's because of the defenses that he's going against, and he's being punished for that. He threw for 326 against Oklahoma. They're like, he threw an interception that was returned for a touchdown, and that's it. He's done. Okay, well, let me bring up some information for you, okay? Did you know that Alabama, Indiana, and Ohio State have a common opponent, which is Wisconsin, okay? Well, how'd they do against Wisconsin? Well, here's the stats. Ty Simpson against Wisconsin, way back when Alabama was playing its cupcakes at the beginning of the year, 24-29, 382 with 4 touchdowns and zero interceptions. Wow, it's pretty impressive against Wisconsin. Okay. Well, Fernando Mendoza just did it this weekend. That's who they're still playing. 22-24, 299, and 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. What about Julian Sain? Same thing. 36-42, 393 with 4 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. But he threw an interception, Kyle, against Oklahoma. Okay. Well, did you know this? Julian Sain threw 2 interceptions against Ohio. Did you know this? That Fernando Mendoza has 5 interceptions this year, and he threw an interception against Oregon. Ty Simpson has 2 interceptions this season. Wait. Julian Sain threw an interception. He's thrown 4 and he threw 2 against Ohio? Oh, that's okay. That was at the beginning of the season. Oh, Fernando Mendoza, don't. No, he's doing better. His 5 interceptions, he was still learning, What? Ty's thrown 2 interceptions, dog. 2. Look at the defenses that he's gone against. You might not care about the individual awards, and Ty might not either, but I'm telling you, the facts are the facts, okay? 2 interceptions against Ohio? 5 interceptions on the season? Dude throws 1 interception against the number 7 defense in the country and gets kicked out of the Heisman race? I don't know. All right, we switch gears to the top 25 football rankings, and the official college football rankings come out on Tuesday. But this is the coaches poll, very similar to the AP top 25 poll, right? Tide is rising, points out 5 fumbles. Yeah, good point. Good point. That's fine. The top 25 look like this: Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, Georgia, Oregon, Ole Miss, Texas Tech, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, Alabama. I figured Alabama would be at 10, right? In fact, as I started kind of doing a little bit more legwork, and as I've been doing more research on all the teams, I found out that it's going to be hard for me to rank Notre Dame above Alabama. That's not being fancy. That's just being like Alabama has a stronger playoff resume than Notre Dame. Notre Dame's beaten 1 top 25 team this year. Alabama's beaten 4. They have the same type of record. So it's going to be hard for me to put the Irish above Alabama. Outside of that, you have BYU, Georgia Tech, Vandy, Utah, and Miami. You can read the screen just as well as I can. With that said, I have a couple different notes that I'd like to go over, and I do have a fraud alert that I'd like to talk to you about that I'd like feedback on, okay? So the Buckeyes right now clearing away the favorites at plus 185 to win the whole thing, okay? We understand that. Mendoza is the Heisman favorite. We understand that as well. Texas A&M survives, and are they on the fraud alert? So let me ask you inside the comment box. Is Texas A&M a fraud, or are they for real? I guess you could type F for either one. Let's do pretender, contender. Type P for pretender, type C for contender. And we're talking about Texas A&M, all right? As I started, I lifted up the hood, and I'm like, man, these guys must have a nice V8, you know what I'm saying? Things are looking good, and I popped it out, and these dudes are, this is like a 4-cylinder. And I'm like, wow, who are they playing? Okay? So let me just poke up. We're talking Texas A&M here. Fraud alert? I don't know. Okay. So what I did was I went and I looked at all the teams that they've been playing in the SEC. Okay. What's the best win in the SEC? You tell me. 1-6 Auburn? How about 1-6 Mississippi State? How about 2-5 Florida? Is it 0-6 Arkansas? Is it 3-4 LSU? Is it 3-3 Missouri? Or is it 1-7 South Carolina, who they beat 31-30 after trailing 30-3? Interesting. I don't know. I mean, they've won all of their games, but that's a different type of schedule than what Alabama has played against, right? Interesting. I don't know. They got Samford. They'll score, 1,000 points on Samford. That's fine. And they'll, I guess, beat Texas, which is that a very impressive win? Will that be, I think Texas, you just hear the name Texas, it's kind of like Alabama. You're like, they're good. Okay? They're good. But I don't know. Is Texas going to be like their staple win of the season after Georgia just beat the what out of Texas? I guess, right? So anyways, Mike Elko done a great job in year 2. I get it. Nobody knows how good these teams are going to be when they're actually on your schedule, but this is literally the entire lower half of the SEC. If we were to relegate the bottom half of the SEC, all these teams would be relegated. All right? Oh, yeah, Notre Dame's their best win, which they also won by 1. And they beat South Carolina by 1. So, yeah, 2 1-point victories for our top team. Fraud alert? Maybe. Look, Georgia looked A+. Gunnar Stockton, I thought the guy was mid like super, super mid at the beginning of the year. And even when Alabama played Georgia, I felt I wasn't impressed with Gunnar Stockton. I felt he was just an average quarterback. And I think that the more that I've watched him over the last 4 games, he has certainly turned into a baller, right? He's playing his best football of the year. In his last 4 games, I'm talking about Gunnar Stockton, 13 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. They got wide receivers now, Zachariah Branch. They got a couple other guys. But, Gunnar Stockton in Georgia, this team looks ferocious. And the better that they look, the better kind of it helps Alabama, as Alabama beat Georgia head-to-head in Athens. But, man, I'm telling you, Gunnar was like, he blew me away the other night. And a week before that, he looked good too. So just want to give him props. I have Ole Miss ahead of Oregon. I just think collectively they're a better team. This isn't like a Lane Kiffin versus Dan Lanning sort of thing. I just feel that Ole Miss is a good football team. And Ole Miss has kind of grown on me the more that we've went on with the season. I think they're good. I like their quarterback as well. The committee loves Texas Tech, and this is a team that I'm starting to kind of warm up to. You guys have told me I'm not prideful enough to just say this is the way I feel and that's it. Like, I've listened to enough of your comments. You guys watch as much football as I do, and there's been a lot of people, including Coach Saban. I heard Pat McAfee, right? Everybody's talking about Texas Tech and what they've put in. We know that the resources that they have, backed by a billionaire, but defensively and offensively, this is a good football team. So I'm starting to warm up to them a little bit more. I'm not like 100% sold on them, but I felt that way a long time about Indiana until I dug under the hood and looked at the actual stats of Indiana. Indiana's stats, like when you go like their team stats, I understand who they're playing. They're great. Number 1 in the country on third down conversions. Number 5 on defensive third down conversions. Very balanced team, 255 passing, 213 yards rushing. Indiana's stats, like pound for pound, they're super impressive. And I'm warming up to Texas Tech. Oklahoma, look, Brett Venables, he's just not a defensive-minded coach. He's a great football coach. And I will say this, though. For what they did defensively against Alabama, which was really impressive, I do feel that Alabama's defense made them look kind of mid. Like John Mateer, who I was like over the moon about, and I thought he was just going to come in and slice everyone up. Man, he looked kind of mid against Alabama. They only had with a craziest stat, I guess. There are a lot of weird stats on that game, Alabama and Oklahoma. But that Oklahoma's offense only had 212 total yards. That's crazy, right? Now, I see a lot of you inside the comment box enjoy the way that Texas Tech plays, for sure. Jarvis wants Texas Tech. He said that they'd beat Indiana. That would be a hell of a matchup. So that's kind of my, my top 10 observations. Last thing is Notre Dame. They should 100% finish 10-2. They have, Stanford and Syracuse. They have 2 really good running backs. Jeremiah Love, I'm a fan. Watched him a few times. You could watch him one game and be sold. This guy is it 100%. So just want to give some credit because that is the type of running back that you want on your NFL fantasy football team. All right. The guy's a beast. All right. Talking about Notre Dame, though, Max Chadwick of Pro Football Focus said this: Notre Dame over Alabama makes 0 sense to me. Right? He's talking about, I guess, the Coaches Bowl. And I was thinking like this, too. Even before Max pointed this out, I was like, man, how am I supposed to rank Notre Dame above Alabama when you look just like at the resume? And you see that Alabama has 4 wins over top 25 teams, whereas Notre Dame, their best win is against number 16 USC. They've won the same number of games, and they've lost the same number of games, right? Maybe you say, well, Notre Dame's losses are, I don't know. They lost to Miami and they lost to A&M. Right? 2 top 15 teams, right? And Alabama lost to an unranked team, Florida State. A lot of people feel that since Alabama lost to Florida State, they should just be out of the playoffs, period. And look, people hated that loss, but look that they won 8 games in a row and they lost to a top 10 Oklahoma team. So I don't know. Maybe Max is right. Maybe we'll see what happens on Tuesday night. This is the weird. Did you see this stat? fam. This is crazy. This is real. All right, so in the last 2 seasons, right, since Texas and Oklahoma have joined the SEC, this is really weird. Alabama has beaten Georgia twice, right, the last 2 years. Really 3 times in a row. And really, Alabama has beaten Georgia in the last 10 out of 11 meetings. But let's just go the last 2 seasons. Alabama has beaten Georgia twice. Georgia has beaten Texas twice. Texas has beaten Oklahoma twice. And Oklahoma has beaten Alabama twice. What the hell? What does this mean? To me, and then a couple stats on the bottom. Alabama has never beaten Oklahoma in the regular season. They've beaten them in bowl games, but in regular season meetings, Alabama's never beaten Oklahoma, which is crazy. They haven't played that many times, but they played 6 times or something like that, and Oklahoma's won all those meetings. And then Alabama has beaten Georgia the last 10 out of 11 times. Anytime I'm talking to a recruit and it's between Alabama and Georgia, I just show them that stat. I'm like, here's your information card for you to look at. You want to beat Georgia, we win here. We beat Georgia. All right. Andrew, what's up, man? Andrew says this. With all this talk about strength of schedule, why is Ohio State number 1 in any poll? Yeah, good question. I think that because they were the champs, because they're undefeated, because their brand, because of how they've been dominating the competition, because they seem to have a balanced offense and a very good defense. I just think that they're saying, look, this team's winning. This is the best team in college football. But look, if you go off, but I've done this, Andrew. I've tried to poke holes in the teams that, the weak competition. That doesn't matter. It's all about how many games you win. That's why I'm terrified is if we get to the back end of the season and it's between BYU and Alabama, Alabama at 10-3 versus BYU at 11-2. Because they're going to say, well, BYU, they've only lost 2 games to Texas Tech. Alabama lost to an unranked team, so they're unstable. I don't know. That's the one thing I'm kind of scared at the back end of the season. This is how I have it right here in terms of the projected 12-team bracket. Okay, I have Ohio. We'll start at the left. Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, Georgia, Texas Tech, Ole Miss, Oregon, Oklahoma, Alabama, Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, and then the group of 5. In this particular scenario, you would have Alabama traveling to Norman, Oklahoma for a rematch. I'd be curious to see where they put Oregon. Oregon's a team. They play USC this weekend. And if they can close out, Oregon's going to finish out 11-1. Ole Miss, if they close out, they'll be 11-1. They got Mississippi State, right? And Texas Tech would be another team that finishes, 11-1, 12-1 if they win the Big 12. So I have Bama right here as a 9 going to Norman. Remember, seeds 5, 6, 7, and 8, they host the games. And then those quarterfinal games are bowl games, right? So the quarterfinal teams don't get a home field game. They're just, they're home for the bowl games. I think in this route, I don't know how much I like this because Alabama would have to go to Norman, which would be very difficult to play in, right? I do feel that Alabama's a better team than Oklahoma. I do. I think they would beat Oklahoma. It would be certainly challenging, probably, another 3.5 type game. But that next game, you're matched up with Ohio State. You might want to be, if it works out like this, and if Alabama, and the only way that it would work out like this is if Alabama doesn't win the SEC championship game, right? But if Alabama wins the SEC championship game, then they're 1 through 4, right? They'll be 1 through 4. So I don't know. It's kind of rat poison to look at, but some things to watch. You have to take a group of 5. So a group of 5 is the highest ranked group of 5. That means either James Madison or North Texas. Okay, so that they take up a playoff spot. You also have to take in a team from the ACC, which would probably be Georgia Tech. I know a lot of people put in Miami as a placeholder. That doesn't even make sense because Miami's not even going to play in the conference championship game. I would imagine, what are they going to do? Not take the conference champ and take the conference at large? They have to take Georgia Tech if Georgia Tech wins that conference. Notre Dame, I think, is going to be right there. The teams that I have kind of on the first team out, BYU, who's 9-1, and Vanderbilt, who's 8-2. So that's kind of where I have it. The remaining SEC games for this weekend, it's not a big slate of games. You have Florida taking on Tennessee. You have Oklahoma taking on Missouri. I guess Missouri has its quarterback, Bo Pribula, who could be back in action. I still think Oklahoma wins that game. Texas takes on Arkansas, and Vandy takes on Kentucky. Thanksgiving weekend, you have Mississippi State taking on Ole Miss. You have Texas taking on Texas A&M, Arkansas, Missouri, Bama taking on Auburn at the Haunted Barn, and Oklahoma taking on LSU, and Tennessee taking on Vanderbilt, right? Those are the better games on that Thanksgiving weekend. Again, to reiterate this, Alabama is in the SEC title game. If they beat Auburn and Texas A&M beats Texas, that would mean Alabama and A&M in the SEC title, as Alabama is above Georgia and Ole Miss based on conference opponent winning percentage. If Alabama beats Auburn and if Texas beats Texas A&M, Alabama would play Georgia in the SEC title, as Georgia is above Ole Miss and A&M based on conference opponent winning percentage. So what I think will happen is I truly feel that Alabama will win these next two games. Okay, let's be optimistic. And then I would like to see, honestly, I would really like to see them play Texas A&M. Is Texas A&M going to beat Texas? I guess. I don't want to play Georgia in the SEC title game. Not that I'm shying away from the best. I just think it'll be better for Alabama to kind of expose Texas A&M. And then Alabama would definitely lock up a top 4 spot. Either way, right? Who would you rather play, Texas A&M or Georgia? Maybe it doesn't matter. But those are kind of the outcomes. We have to watch that Texas and Texas A&M game while we're watching Bama and Auburn. All right. So I came up with this earlier too. So earlier, like after the Oklahoma game, I was like, okay, what is the team's real identity? We had a good passing team, but did you know this? They grade at 49.8, or Ty does, when he's pressured. So yeah, good passing team, but against when he's pressured, that goes down significantly. When he's kept clean, it's 91.2. Okay, very below average run. Went from 119 in the nation to 121 over the weekend, which is just pitiful, like absolutely pitiful. And today, when we hear from Ryan Grubb, what else do we hear? Hey, we know, and even Coach Kalen DeBoer, these guys can't throw their players under the bus, nor should they. But what are they going to say? They can't say a lot. They'll be like, look, it might be better just be like, look, we can't run the ball. We can't. We can pass the ball, and we're figuring out that, and we found out that we have to run gadget plays that are kind of our run game. I don't know what they're going to say. But 121? God, that's pitiful. Great defense. The red zone defense is fantastic. Okay? I understand that John Mateer had that touchdown run to 20 yards. I didn't like that. But overall, Oklahoma should have scored on that opening drive when they returned that 42-yard punt. They didn't. The red zone defense of Alabama, you get inside their goal line defense. Good luck scoring on them inside the goal line. Salty defense. Stingy. Poor kicking game. Talty is 11-16. You know that. That's on him. I don't think that's on the snapper, the holder. I think it's just on Talty. And I know I would I bet you Coach Kalen DeBoer talked to him after the game. Or at some point. You can't call out another teammate like that. Just don't point fingers, all right? And Jarvis, you came up with this, bro. Battle tested. 100%. 4 wins over top 25 teams. Battle tested 1,000,000%. Not a lot of teams can say they're battle tested. Even some kind of at the top end, all right? They just can't. But Alabama certainly is. They've been punched, they've delivered blows, and they've played one hell of a schedule, okay? As you know, this video is powered by our friends at Sleeper. When you use the promo code, which is tailgate, you can get a $100 deposit match up to $100, okay? By just downloading the app, you get $20. It's really fun to play. You can make more or less picks. For example, is Ty going to throw for over 300 yards? Is Jam going to run for over 30 yards, right? Is Ryan Williams going to, catch for over 50 yards? You can do that every single week. That's what I do. You could also play fantasy football on Sleeper. Download the app, available in 25 states. Terms and conditions apply. Use the promo code, which is tailgate. Also, if you want concerts, if you want festivals, download the app TickPick, all right? And use the promo code, which is HMA. HMA. And when you download TickPick, they got every single concert, any sort of festival that you want. I know there's a couple of you inside the comment box that use TickPick, so definitely give them a shot. Those are supporters of the program, and I hope that you guys support them as well. Here's a best case, worst case, and a plausible option. I've gone over this a couple times. I'll run through it one more time. The best case is Alabama absolutely runs the table, and they finish out 14-2. And you might be thinking out there, they're like, yeah, there's no way in hell that they can get hot and run the table. Well, why not? How many games would that be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They'd have to win 6 games in a row, Kyle. 6 games. They won 8 games in a row this year, right? Well, they'd have to beat 4 top 25 teams in a row, right? They have to be the SEC title game. They have to beat someone in the quarters, someone in the semis, someone in the title. No team could win against 4 consecutive top 25 teams. Oh, really? Couldn't? Well, Bama did that this year. So Bama won 8 games in a row. They'd have to win 6 on this case, and they'd have to beat 4 top 25 teams. They already did that this year. Just saying. Something that could be plausible is that they win the next 2. Maybe they lose in the SEC title game, but the more I think about it, I think Alabama beat Texas A&M. And I know following the loss, you're probably like, no way in hell. Texas A&M, take them to the woodshed. I don't know. Texas A&M, I showed you already, they're on fraud alert. Now, they might very well lose to Georgia. That team's playing like a buzzsaw. I don't know. I think Alabama will probably expose A&M. Maybe you get into the first round, you host a game at Bryant-Denny Stadium, and then maybe you beat somebody in the quarters, right? Maybe you lose in the semifinals. 12-4. Respectable season. You made it to the playoffs. Gauntlet of a season. You battled. 12 wins. Love it. 4 losses. Okay, let's get ready for next season. The worst case scenario is something that certainly still exists, and this could happen. You beat Eastern Illinois, you take on Auburn, and you lose that game, and the world crashes. Players get checked out. Everybody starts fighting. The YouTube channel crashes. We start fighting each other, right? And then you play in some weird bowl game. The fish bowl. What's the weirdest bowl game out there? Hey, and I see you guys inside the comment box. Yo, you can certainly be critical of the players, but I think when you're like personally attacking the players, I'm gonna say it one time, don't do that. Hattie Mae, you've been here for a long time, dog. So clean it up inside the comment box. Cool? I'd appreciate that, man. Thank you. But if you want to say that the player isn't good or is not performing, go ahead, right? And dude, I have a million other things rather than to monitor a comment box. But please don't like personally attack players, right? Be better than that. All right, yeah, you don't want to get into like the Duke's Mayo Bowl. I mean, come on, right? You imagine, and doesn't the winning coach have to put mayonnaise on their head? Ugh. So the worst case scenario certainly still exists, which is losing to Auburn and then losing some Duke's Mayo Bowl, right? I mean, that would be the worst case. I don't even know what we'd have to do in that sort of case. That's the worst case scenario. But it all goes through Auburn, ironically. The worst place to have to play a playoff play-in game. But you know what? Yo, you're going to have to play through hell, right, to win a national championship in this world of college football. So you might as well go through Auburn. Might as well. We'll turn it into positive. We'll go down to the barn and we'll go to war. Every game down there is crazy. I've showed you this little chart before. And while the games at Bryant-Denny Stadium always go, at least in this little chart, dating back to 2016, these are literally all the games that I've seen in person, right? All these games at Bryant-Denny Stadium pretty much gone Alabama's way. But when we go over there, my God, it's crazy. Every game, the last 4 games, right? 2023, 3-point win. 2021, 2-point win. 2019, 3-point win by Auburn. And 2017, 2017 was crazy for me because that was the first game that I'd ever seen at Auburn. So I go down there, and Alabama was, they were rolling that year. That was the year they won the national championship. And I was so confident. And like as a young reporter, like when I was going to all the games, I was like, oh man, this is like another sleeper that go into the Iron Bowl and, they do their thing. And then I had never seen Alabama be dominated more in the line of scrimmage than what Auburn did to them. And you know what? I think it was Kevin Steele who was their defensive coordinator. So, but the crazy thing was Alabama didn't even make the conference championship game. They made the playoffs and they won the whole thing. What a memorable year. All right. I hit on a couple things. These were a couple, hot topics. I pointed these out on yesterday. You saw, was this guy, was he a state trooper, right? That he went after neighbors. I think he got repositioned or reassigned. That was absolutely crazy. Jeremiah Love, we gave him props. Lane Kiffin, I don't know. I asked you guys if you think he's going to leave to Florida. We're not going to find out to the end of the season. This Alabama staffer over here, I think they should put her on the offensive line, maybe at right guard. She put 11 Oklahoma players and staffers in their place as they were trying to get on the script A. And then I still can't believe that this particular play was not called pass interference in this game between Alabama and Oklahoma. I'm telling you, Ryan Williams, the guy he is held more than this guy is held. I've never seen a receiver get more holding calls, defensive holding calls that aren't called, right? Would you agree with that? Dexter Daniels, what's up, dog? With the fourth quarter super chat for $10. Let's go, Dexter Daniel. Appreciate you, dog. Oh, that was on Harbor. My bad. Thank you, Chance. I appreciate it. Yeah, Nick Harbor. He's the guy who caught that long touchdown against Bama, right? Dude's a monster. I showed this already. The odds to win the title is Ohio State, Indiana, A&M, and Notre Dame. I don't really like that board at all. And then odds to win the Heisman, Fernando Mendoza, Julian Sain, and Marcel Reed. All right. So that's kind of where we stand, going into this pivotal Monday. But one more time, let's go back and let me leave you with this creed one more time, okay? Because we have to get used to this, okay? Especially as we go to the back end and as we grow. Okay, let's say it together. This is the college football creed. I understand my team will get punched in the mouth. I understand that my team will deliver blows. I accept that all teams in the SEC might be created equal. Turnovers will kill you. So will missed tackles. I am committed to living a one-game season. This is not 2013 when Saban used to give BTA on a weekly basis. This is 2025. Things are crazy AF. We ride or win or lose, and we roll tide. Okay, so that is our college football creed. All right, coming up today, you got Coach Kalen DeBoer, you got offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb, and you got defensive coordinator Kane Womack at the podium. Excited to see what they have to say going into. Look, this isn't a bounce back week. I mean, come on, they're playing Eastern Illinois. They need to be able to, continue to have the right psychological disposition, as Coach said, finishing out the season, right? This is the next team on the schedule. There's no bounce back. It's like back to work. All right, let's get the job done. And I know everybody is excited to see which players might play. Look, you have to close this game out by halftime. You have to put in a statement that loss to Oklahoma didn't, make you run away. Show up, play big, all right? Can't wait to see it. I'm excited for this game, actually. All right. I really am. I want to see how this team comes out and how they play at home. 1,000,000%. All right. But I appreciate you. Thanks for kicking it with me today on Monday, November 17th. We flushed it. We flushed that L, and we are going forward. That's it. That's what we do in life, right? There's a little bit of adversity. We push past it, and we go right through. There's a lot of football to be played. And just remember, think about what they're saying on the Texas show, right? Think about it. What are they saying today? What could you possibly be saying to walk people off the ledge? Oh, next year, don't worry. Next year is the year. Next year, Sark is going to get it done. Oh, no, it's done. You're done. All right? Think about that. You're not in that position. Still have a lot to play for, and, all the goals are still in sight. So we're not going to jump off and float down negative town. Cool? I appreciate you, fam. Thanks for kicking it with me right here on Bama Football on YouTube. It is a beautiful 62 degrees in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Sun came up, feeling good. Kalen Deboer and his crew up at the podium on Monday. I'll have some excerpts, and, of course, as news happens, we will keep you posted right here on Bama Football on YouTube. I love you. I appreciate you. Stay where your feet are at. Be grateful for the blessings that are bestowed upon you, and enjoy this beautiful thing we called life. Be positive, not negative. And remember, if you get down in the dumps, all right, sit down with your little college football creed, read it, and turn up. All right, fam. Love you guys. Thanks for kicking with me right here on Bama Football on YouTube. It is Alabama versus Eastern Illinois week. Let's get it.